Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. Sunday chat today is really one of those wandering around talking about next to nothing. You know you love it. Orchid Society meeting yesterday. Our Lynn was up the front talking about Masdevallias. And it was amazing as she was going through the big list of species and hybrids that she likes or has come across. It's amazing how many she's lost. It made me feel an awful lot better. I seem to be at the stage now where the ones I've got seem to be doing okay. And I'm happy with the ones I've got. What I will do as far as the Masdevallias are concerned, these are compact plants. They don't really need anything special apart from being kept cool and going very, very careful at repot time not to upset the apple cart, basically. They seem to, some of them just seem to react badly to having their roots messed about with. Probably combined with changing the media type as well, that might not do them a lot of good. But once they start rooting and they get going, they're actually quite easy. Providing you can drop the heat, keep them cool. Talking of heat, I'm at the stage now where, well, if you think about it, where we are now, what are we about? We're only about 6 weeks from the longest day. It's surprising how that creeps up on you. Well, it does on me. Every year I keep looking forward to the longer days, and I'll get a bit of sun on the end of the roof, get a bit of warmth in the daytime. But nonetheless, that sun only comes onto the roof. It's just started now, and it's lunchtime. So the whole of the morning has had no sun on the roof. So therefore, the influence of the heat in here is minimal. Now, okay, it's a warm day outside today, which is stopping it chilling this down, but nonetheless, it's about 22 degrees in here. That's not excessively warm, but for all the cooler growers in here, that's smashing as a daytime temperature. Suits them fine. But yes, on sunny days I will now start getting some extra heat in the afternoons. And when I say extra heat, if we have very hot weather outside, well, for the UK, some of you are thinking I'd have my coat on in that temperature, literally outside temperature heading up towards 30, then in here I'll probably get 27, maybe 28 during the day with the sun on the roof in the afternoon. But it's not going to be for long. That sun is gone by late afternoon. It's only there 4 hours, maybe 5 at the most, and then the temperature would drop back again. So I've only got to put up with temperatures a little higher than quite a few of my plants would like for a short time on days when it's sunny for the next 12 weeks or so. So it's not the end of the world. But yeah, that creeping up on the longest day does sort of get to you, doesn't it? So our day length now is over 15 hours. I think maximum day length in this country, where I am anyway, is about around 16 and a half hours. So we've still got over an hour's day length to gain in that 6 weeks. So it's a very, very slow rate of change at the moment, very slow. Hardly noticeable. I have got a new bloom open to show you, if I can get at it. I think I can, yes. I'll do that at the end. So yeah, good meeting yesterday. No kit issues, thank goodness. And somebody muttered something away, and I stood forward so that I could hear better, and I noticed everybody else had stepped backwards. It's called being volunteered again. I did actually volunteer for it on the grounds that I couldn't see anybody else even looking remotely like they wanted to do it, therefore it wouldn't have got done. The British Orchid Council, BOC, have a photographic competition, and it's It's orchids, but it's a photographic competition, not a competition to show a particularly good orchid. It needs to be a well taken picture related to orchids, if you see what I mean. So it's more about the photographer than what's in the picture. They're quite difficult to judge because there's a lot of artiness, you know what I was going to say, and therefore there's a lot of subjectivity involved. You know, what one person would say is a great photo, others would say, yeah. So I don't know who the hell's going to judge it, but we discussed trying to encourage some of our members to do it. And the way they want to do it is that members of societies send photos into a central point, and then those are sent in by that individual to the BOC. So I got volunteered to do that, to basically collate the photos together and then forward them on to the BOC. And somebody suggested that if we're going to do that, why don't we have our own photographic competition at the same time, which we can publish the photos in our magazine. That'll make a nice interesting sort of topic. So I think we're going to do that. Won't be me. All I'm doing is gathering the photos together, making sure each photo has got the right information, whatever that is. I don't even know what information they want yet. Obviously name, and at least the name of the person, and possibly the orchid that's in it. They might not want any more than that. Oh, and the Orchid Society it came from, I suspect. But I've still got some stuff to find out. So I basically set up a new email address for people to use, so that I don't have all the clutter in my personal email address. So they can all come to a separate place, and I can have a look in there every now and again, and then collate the photos together, which is just, it's a matter of zipping them, because they'll have to be, well, I don't know how the BOC want to do it. I mean, ideally, when you're looking at things that take up a lot of room, certainly if your videos are involved, is to have a cloud space, but the free cloud space is only up to a certain size, and then that starts becoming a chargeable thing. But ideally you put all the photos in an area on the cloud, and then send the link to that area to give permission to somebody else to get at them and be able to download them. Because you can't send big files via email nowadays, they won't let you. The only other way is to zip the files, which might be adequate. We shall see. So that's something else I've been lumbered with. Sorry, volunteered for. It's not going to take up a lot of time on the grounds that I don't think a lot of people will bother. We've got 70 odd members. There'll be quite a few of them that wouldn't know which way up the camera went, and there will be some that, if they managed to take some nice photos, wouldn't know how to get them to me. So I'm not going to be inundated, basically. There's probably a limit to the number of pictures an individual can submit. It might be one or two, might only be one, I don't know. So it's not going to be a huge volume of stuff I've got to deal with, but we shall see. I also volunteered to do some hints and tips on, you know, taking a good photo. I've done that a couple of times before for various reasons, so it's relatively easy to do that. I mean, if you look through like an orchid book, or anything really, or an orchid magazine or something like that, or even online, you can see a good picture, and you can see those that aren't. You sort of think, who the hell took that? You know, far too much clutter and not enough orchid, and you know, the lighting's poor. You know, you got a shadow right across the blue. There's all sorts of things that can mess a photo up. With just a little bit of thought, you can get rid of all of that. And often it means just picking your plant up and moving it somewhere else. You know, cluttered background, that sort of thing. Like me taking a picture in that corner of the grow room with the lights and light switches and bare bricks and wires hanging down. You know, that's not the place, is it? So, yeah, I got volunteered for that. won't take up much of my time, that's for sure. So what else did we discuss? Not much else really. Venue for the garden party's been confirmed, same as last time. Oh, that's the point. The garden party will be at Alan and Sue's place, where I often get to film Alan's glasshouses, yeah, and sometimes parts of his garden as well, at the garden party. I've got an invite to go and see him, like now, soon, to see his Deesas, because we were talking Deesas, and his are just growing mad. His are just going mad, and the only way I can really see what he's doing different is to see it, is to go there and see what he's doing in situ, because he's got the plants from the same guy as I've got. And I was chatting to him yesterday. He seems to have done similar things. He seems to have potted some on, you know, the smaller pots. He's put them into bigger pots. He seemed to have split up larger pots into several pieces and then put them in large pots with some new media. He doesn't seem to have done anything different to me. And he's got them stood in trays of water like me. So what is different? The only thing I can think of is that the change of environment from the guy who supplied them to me was more of a culture shock than it was for Alan, who also, you know, the guy grows in a greenhouse dedicated for his plants, and so does Alan. I don't. This technically is not a greenhouse, it's a conservatory. So I just want to see the difference. I'll check his temperature ranges, its humidity, night and day, and just have a look and see what is so different that his are all growing really well, and I've lost over half of mine. So, you know, I can get some more. I've still got plenty of plants, but I've lost the variety that I originally had, because a lot of them, there were only a few plants in a pot, and I've lost the pot full, if you see what I mean. Whereas some of the others, I had 2 or 3 potfuls, and I might have lost one, but I've still got 2 or 3 others. So I've still got plenty of plants, but not so much variety now. So we will try and find out why they're not doing as well. The other thing is, the ones that he got were bought from Burnham's. Well, a couple of mine were as well, but they'd have come back and gone straight in his greenhouse. Mine were transported from Cornwall in a car to a car park on an incredibly hot day, bright sunny hot day. They then got transferred into my car and driven home and then dealt with here. Now it could be just the transport has upset them and they never really recovered properly, so I don't know. So I will be hopefully doing a trip to Alan's sometime next week, and obviously have a look round his greenhouses, do battle with the loony dog, and we'll see how we go. But I'd be interested to see how well his are growing, as opposed to just a verbal description of how well they're growing, and also his setup, how he's got them, where he's got them. You know, has he got them in a lot more shade than I have, for instance? Because the one thing I can guarantee is that here my light level is much higher than his. That I can say without even seeing his glass houses. He heavily shades to keep the heat out, because his glass houses are in full sun virtually all day. So he's got heavy shading, so he hasn't got the light that I've got. I mean, even on a day when the sun's not on the roof, there is no shading. Plants are open. You know, I've got a lot of light in here. Not so much in the winter, but then, you know, in the winter the day lengths are really short and the days are dull. You know, nobody's got a lot of light in the UK in the winter. So, unless you turn certain lights on. So we will try and do that. I came to the conclusion when I repotted the Cymbidium a video or two ago, I forget, I realised that I had forgotten. At the beginning of the year I always have a look through and see what's going to need repotting, and then I have a look in my supplies corner just inside the door there and see how much supplies, bark and perlite and the various things I might need, moss, and make sure I've got enough. And if I haven't, then I make sure I've got some at one of the early spring shows where the supplies are for sale and I don't have to pay for shipping, postage, whatever you want to call it. And I've completely messed this up this year because I didn't allow for the cymbidiums. These are big pots and each one will use a lot of media, and I haven't got anywhere near enough, and there's no shows now. The next time I'll be going to Burnham's is in August for their Orchid Festival, which Lynn's volunteered to come along as well, so that'll be a definite. So I had two choices really: go to Burnham's and get some bark and make a day of it, or have a look at the postage and have a think about that. And then I thought, well, what about Peter White? I've never got him to post anything before because he comes to our shows and he brings whatever you want. You know, you just pick it up, put it in the car. So I had a look on his website, and for the bag of bark that I got, let me go and get it so we can see what I'm talking about. This is the size that I got last time from Peter White. Obviously it was full. See what I mean about not having much left? So, and I know what this is. I know what it looks like, I know what it feels like, and I know how it works. And it's plenty good enough stuff for what I want. But what I wanted was to see what size this was and what size the bag is before I ordered. Now this was classed as the medium bark, so 10 to 15 mil, and that was a 15 litre bag. So I've ordered a 25 litre bag of that size, and I've ordered a 15 litre bag of the next size down, which is the small bark. And it seems that on his website I put one bag in my basket and went to the checkout to see how much the postage would be, and the shipping is £7.99 for UK parcels. And I thought, well, that's actually not bad. It's a bulky package, you know, and obviously the bag I'm going to get is bigger than that. So I thought, I don't mind paying that as a one-off because it was my fault I forgot to get it at the show, you know, so we'll make up for it that way. And then I thought, I wonder. So I put the big bag of that stuff in, and I went back and put another bag in the basket, and the shipping doesn't change. So I only paid one lot of shipping for 2 large bags of bark, and I'm more than happy with that. Obviously, to go to Burnham's and back is a day out, which is nice, but you have to think about the fuel. And, you know, I might get there and the bark they've got's not very good. That has happened before. And Sarah said, that's all we could get this time, you know, so we had to put up with it. So I've ordered those 2 bags from Peter White. I don't know how long they'll take. I haven't even had the order acknowledged yet. But we'll see. And for £8, getting a couple of big bags of bark, I'm happy with that. So once I crack on with the cymbidium repotting, if I run out again, I'll just order some more, because that amount of shipping cost is not a big deal. I'm quite happy to pay that. It saves me going to Burnham's. As I said, it would have been a nice day out, but I've already got one trip to Burnham's this year, definitely, for their Orchid Festival. I mean, there'll be 3 or 4 orchid societies there and a couple of other sellers as well as Burnham's and the nursery itself. It'll be a nice day out with Lynn and meet up with quite a few other people I'll know. So that'll happen. That might be one that Hannah comes to, but we want to go on the Saturday. It's a 2-day event. We want to go on the Saturday, and to do that Hannah's got to come down on the Friday, which can be arranged, but it has to be arranged because of her work and everything. So I'll see what she wants to do. It's a long way off, so it can be arranged okay. Yeah, so that was that. I didn't take any plants in to the society meeting yesterday. Basically, there isn't anything that I'd have only been taking plants in to show. I mean, I'd love to have taken this coleogeny in, but how the hell am I going to transport that? That's never going to happen. That's never going to go anywhere, because how would I transport it without damaging it? You know, it's this, and that's it when it's only got one spike. As the plant gets bigger, there may be times when it's got 2 or 3 spikes. You know, it's almost impossible to transport. And you didn't choose it as a project orchid, so tough. I was surprised at that, but nonetheless, you were given the choices, you've done your choosing, and we know what we've now got. I've got flipping orchids in my hair here. So the project orchids, the first video will be this week, where we have a close look at each of the 5 plants that you've chosen from the list I gave, and we will have a close look and talk about their individual requirements, and providing they're happy with their requirements, what I expect from them. So what do I expect each plant to do for the next year? And then the idea being, the next time we visit the project orchids, we'll look at what was said in the previous video and what they're like in the next video, so we can do a direct comparison to see if what I'm expecting from them is actually happening, good, bad or indifferent, if you see what I mean. So that'll be the idea. What else? Gardening stuff. We are still suffering from last weekend's gardening with Hannah. A week later, my knees are still not comfortable. Bending is not easy, and my back is still a bit stiff. So yeah, last week's gardening weekend has a suffering factor from my point of view. I'll get over it, you know, but yeah, it does make it, thinking about doing anything else in the garden is a bit like that at the moment. No, it can wait, you know, that sort of thing. Oh, I did get a new little plant from Helen yesterday. It's a little hellebore seedling. She's got a particular one that grows very rampantly and has produced seedlings all over the place, including, I think, in the cracks in the patio. So she's pulled one out and put it in a little pot for me to see if I can grow it on. So quite an attractive one. It has quite bright green flowers with like little purple tinges around the edge. So and it's quite a large plant as well. So we'll see if we can get that going. But even planting that is a bending job, if you see what I mean. But it's a short and sweet one, so it won't take long. I've just got to find somewhere where it can go, where it can grow into its appropriate size, because it will grow quite a lot this year and then presumably bloom next year. So I have to find somewhere up the shady end of the planted border. Another thing we'll have a look at some point, my Sarracenias out in the garden, there's a couple of flowers. They're not open yet, but I'll keep my eye out, because I don't think they last that long. But yeah, we've got some flowers to come. Yeah, there's one sticking up higher than all of the tubes. It's sort of sticking up above, so that should open soon, I would think. So that'd be good. What else? Can't think of much else that's going on. I mean, out here, I have got work to do. I've still got plenty of repotting to do, which I will fall back on, you know, so that there's something to film. I can remember previous years. It gets to the point where people, viewers, you good people, are looking, thinking, "Oh, not another repot. Haven't we had enough of them yet?" Well. If I don't film them, what else am I going to film? That's what's going on at this time of year. It's repotting time. As I say, we've got most of the repotting on the Cymbidiums is new plants that I've got this year, that, you know, were bought in bloom this year, that are in a fibrous media that I want to change, ready to go outside, so they don't stay soaking wet all through the summer when it rains. which it do. It hasn't done it for a while. I reckon you must not far off 2 months at this time of year with no rain. Farmers are screaming, you know, stuff's just germinating and frazzling. Huge big cracks in their fields where the soil is so dry. It can be bad this time of year for people who grow things. I mean, from my point of view, it just means I'm using up a lot of water keeping stuff in the garden hydrated, especially my bonsai. They have, in this sort of weather, bright sunshine, and it's warmer now, they've got to be watered every single day. So my water bill's going to go up, because I do actually, I'm on a meter, you know, now. But so far I haven't had a big bill that's frightened me anyway, so I'm doing okay with that. Yeah, so things are doing okay. Yesterday, in amongst the plants that were brought in, there was the most stunning Dendrobium Victoria Regina. It was I've never seen one with so many blooms on. Every cane had blooms on, and each cane had quite a few bunches of blooms on. It's an absolute beauty. Mine hasn't bloomed for a while now, and what's worrying about it is it hasn't produced any new growth from the base either. It's another, you know, it's a cooler grower. It should do better here than it did around the other place, but we shall see. That mine comes into bloom when it feels like it. It doesn't seem to have a season, it just has some blooms every now and again. But I really would like to see a new growth, I really would. Still, we shall wait and see. And yeah, I think that will do for today, because I'm late filming. Believe it or not, I must have been quite tired. I did all my comments and stuff first thing, and Mojo didn't get me up too early this morning, which was nice. And then I did all the banking stuff for the Orchid Society, sorted all the money out and updated the day book and all that sort of stuff, and got all that done. And I had to sit on the settee with Mojo and fell sound asleep. So I spent half the morning asleep on the settee. Must have been tired. You can't sleep if you're not tired. Right, let's get this plant out and show you. Hopefully it will just lift up above all the others. It's only just opened. 2 spikes. And I've got to try and remember the name, because it's actually been registered now. And what's on, that's what it is. But it's actually got a registered name now, and it's Guarechia Midnight Star, I think it is. But don't quote me, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Now, this plant hasn't been repotted since I got it. And you know what I'm like, I don't like that sort of thing, because I don't know what's going on in the pot. But the 2 latest growths have got spikes on. And I don't know whether I can tip this up so that you can see. It's going mad with roots from the latest growths. So it's pushing out an awful lot of new roots down into the pot. So that's good. Now these are typical Prosthetia type blooms. So they're upside down. And hopefully I can hold that still enough for you to see. They are a lovely deep colour, very dark. And as you can see, they are upside down. The lip is at the top of the plant, and then a little star shape below. The lip on these always has nice patterning in it. So that's what they look like. It's 2 spikes, one opened on each, but they opened yesterday while I was out. So that's only just happened. This has not been a happy plant, and still isn't, because it keeps getting this. The leaves keep yellowing from the tip, which normally means there's something going wrong in the pot. It can't be a light thing, because it would affect the whole leaf. It wouldn't only affect the tip. But there's something not quite right with this plant, and I suspect there's something wrong in the pot. And it might be losing its roots, so it's not being able to feed itself as well as it should. But yeah, it's even, I mean, if you look at this latest growth with the spike, that leaf's like that, and that leaf I've already trimmed. The same with the other one with the spike. This one's just starting, and this one's got yellow on it, so it's not a happy plant, but I think that, can't remember, I think that came from Burnham's, I'm not sure. It might have been from Spice Exotic, I don't know. Well, that was something else we were discussing about. We've had to rearrange lots of stuff because of, well, one particular problem. Our spring show, first, our autumn show, the one in October, somebody forgot to tell the traders and confirm the date. So the traders have found somewhere else to go. They can't afford to miss a weekend without a show. That's how they make probably most of their money. And so we've had to change the date. So we had to not only find a date that the traders were free on, which the later in the year it gets, the easier it is, so we found that. But then we had to check that the hall was available. So we've managed to sort that one out quite quickly. And then we've got another problem in March, where we have our show. Our spring show has always been the first weekend in March. And it's annoying because Bournemouth have their show the last weekend in February. And last year, the way the dates work, they were a week apart. And there's lots of people go to both. There's lots of members of those societies go to both. So they go to Bournemouth, spend all their money and come to ours and haven't got enough money to buy loads of plants, have they? So that's always been not very good. But something went wrong. The problem with March is that Wisley, is the Wisley show, RHS Wisley Orchid show, is in March. And you can never find out the date to plan ahead. So you just have to, if you book your own show and book you won't get the traders, they won't commit, because they'll be at Wisley. But they're not going to miss Wisley. That's a big event for them. You know, it's a 3-day event, sort of national show. So they're not going to miss that. So we've had to change it to April, and that works out for me an awful lot better, because we'll be quite a long way away from Bournemouth now. Also, our gap between April and October is 6 months, so it does split the year better. So yeah, we've been playing around with our show dates, which is a nuisance. And the problem with moving this year's autumn show in October is the weekend it is now, the 25th, is my birthday weekend. 25th isn't my birthday, but it's the weekend Hannah would have come down for my birthday. So we might have to do my birthday weekend, the one before or the one after. So it messes things about when all these things have to change. Still, keeps us on our toes, I suppose you could say. Yes, so that'll do for today. And yeah, I can't think, there was something else. And it's gone, whatever it was. Never mind. I opened my bale of peat in the carport and took a bag full of that for Alan, for well, not only for his deethers, he grows quite a lot of other things that need that acidic type base, things like sundew plants and pinguiculars, all those sort of stuff. So he's actually got quite a need for it, and he was thinking of buying a bale as well, and in the end he didn't. So I've taken him quite a big bag full, and if I go again to see him this week, I will take another bag full for him, because I'm never going to get through that bale of peat. I got it while it was available, because soon you won't be able to get hold of it, so I thought I'll have it while it's there. It wasn't ridiculously expensive for the amount I've got, so anybody who wants some, you know, like Alan has a need, there's plenty spare, so yeah. We'll run with that. Yeah, I think that'll do for today. And to say, things coming up. We've got a trip to Alan's to have a look at his deethers and have a look around the rest of his glass houses. That'd be a nice video for you. See how somebody else grows, what they grow. I mean, he's much more extensive than mine. I mean, I've got about 150 plants. I think he's got 700 or 800. So there's a dramatic difference in the sheer number of plants and the variety, and he's highly likely to have some nice Draculas in bloom. they're not so easy to film because he keeps them hanging off the bench. So they're not under the bench, but they're hanging off the bench. So the blooms then hang down from there. They're nearly on the floor. But as they come into bloom, he normally finds somewhere else to put them. So I should be able to film some, if there are any. And yeah, we'll go from there. And thanks to everybody who supports the channel. I always do the thank yous on a Sunday at the end. And it is important to me. It's I mean, I've stated it many times, but I live here on borrowed funds because the cost of this place I can't afford. I'm nowhere near it. So if it wasn't for the YouTube money and the Patreon money to add in, my inheritance money would run out very quickly. So although I'm dipping into my inheritance money every time the rent's due, it's minimised by the income from the YouTube and the Patreon site. So the income, it is important. It keeps this all going, if you see what I mean. It allows me to have this place with this garden, with this conservatory, to have an orchid collection, because without that income, the place that I would be living in would probably be a one-bedroom flat with no garden and nowhere to put many orchids, just a couple of windowsills. That's what I'd have. So it's important that we keep that going. So thanks for all your support in whatever shape or form. Don't forget the thumbs up. Nowadays with YouTube, that they take quite a lot of notice of thumbs up and comments. And like I say, sticking with a video, watching it from start to finish, they love all that. I don't know how clever their algorithm is. You know, if you've got a 30-minute video and you start watching it, and then after 3 or 4 minutes you skip a couple of minutes and then watch a bit more and then skip a bit, do they know? You know, so you've watched the start, you've skipped some bits, and you watch the end. You watch it run out the end. Do they know you've missed some bits out? I don't know. I'm only mucking about. But yeah, obviously watching the videos is support. Watching some of the ads is, you know, that's how YouTube make their money. People watching the ads. The advertisers pay YouTube for the space to advertise, and when people watch the advertisements, YouTube reluctantly give some of the money to the creators, the likes of me and the other YouTube channels that you watch. So nothing's free nowadays, but at least they give some of it back. Not a lot. I've always said, if you're going to do a regular monthly contribution, the most efficient way of doing it is to join the Patreon site and make a contribution there on a monthly basis, because they don't take very much. Whereas the membership on YouTube, they take 32%. It's nearly a third. So it's an awful lot. Patreon don't take anywhere near that much. And then there's always the Buy Me a Coffee, you know, one-off donations for either a bit of information you've been after that you've managed to get here, or a video you particularly liked, so that sort of thing. And I'll mention, because I keep forgetting, there is a Facebook group attached to this channel. Well, not physically, but related. The link's in the description. It's a place where you can post photos. Because the problem has always arisen when people have got a particular problem and they want me to have a look at their problem. You can't send a photo into YouTube, can you? You can only put videos up, and most viewers don't do videos themselves. But on a Facebook group you can, but you do have to join it. It is a private group, and there's a question at the front of it. If you don't answer the question, you don't get in. And if your answer includes your YouTube channel, you're in. People that are of little use are people that have already got 700 groups against their name. You can't be involved with 700 groups. You're just collecting them for whatever obscure reason you've got going on up here. You know, oh, I belong to more groups than you. Who gives a shit? You know, just seems a silly thing to do. I mean, I'm a member of about 5, maybe 6, and I can't give them all my undivided attention with such a low number. Yeah? Hang on. Guess who wants to come in? Come on then. Well, make up your mind. He is getting slow, aren't he? Come and say hello. Come on. Come and say hello. You haven't said hello for a long time, have you? There. Scruffy cat, aren't you? Hey. Oh, scruffy cat. He's showing his age a lot now. Doesn't look after himself as much as he used to. So he does get a bit scruffy. But, oh, he's all warm. He's just been lying out in the sun. He's probably overheated now and come in for a drink. Come on then. I don't know why I bother talking to him. He can't hear me. He's deaf as a post. But yeah, he plods now. There's no sort of spring in his step. He just sort of plods along. But he's still mobile. He can still trot up the stairs to the bedroom when he wants to. He still jumps up on his sofa to his blanket. He still jumps up onto my workbench. So he's still active. He's just much slower than he used to be. He's still eating okay, even though he's losing weight, because he is getting a right old skinny cat now. But he's still with us. That's the important thing. If he makes it to the end of the summer, I'll be over the moon. But that might be his limit. I don't know. You know, he's definitely getting on now, and it shows. So I will see you next time, and for whatever. But it looks like it's Project Orchids, trip to Allen's, and some more repotting. That's probably what's in store for the week ahead. And whatever the next one is, hopefully I'll see you there. Bye for now.